it reminded me of confidence.
Yeah.
Actually stepping into areas and spaces where you may not feel comfortable, but going into that with confidence, and knowing that you have others that are supporting you and cheering you on to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the part around like going into a space with your head not bowed, it's going in with confidence,
Hmm.
trying new things, and showing what you're capable of doing.
True confidence isn't about having all the answers or never feeling a moment of doubt. It's about showing up authentically, grounding ourselves in our existing skills, and creating a space where our team feels safe to be fully present. Dennise Rosas joins me to discuss how leading from the heart allows us to stand tall, our heads held high, as we navigate the challenges of leadership and service.
Leadership Sound Bites. Real leaders, real moments, real growth.
Welcome to this week's episode of Leadership Sound Bites. My very, very, very special guest, Dennise Rosas. Dennise and I work together at Sutter Health, where I'm not at Sutter Health anymore. Dennise is still at Sutter Health, Area Director of Medical Specialties.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And I didn't even have to look at it. The other thing that you're involved in is Blood Cancer United. No,
Yes.
is that right?
Mhm.
I, you and I chatted offline before we hit record another thing about it. And I believe we have the motivation in common. I know you lost your dad to a cancer. I lost my father to a cancer. Um, it is a terrible, terrible way and a painful way for people to go.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and so I'm excited to hear because I know there's an event coming up around that. So that being said,
Mhm.
you've got a quote for us or a thing from something that you're going to share. So go ahead and kick us off, and I can't wait to chat with you.
Yeah, so I love poetry. Interesting fact, when I was in graduate school during my last semester, I had some extra time in my schedule and I signed up for a poetry class. So as a graduate student, I was taking this class with undergraduate students, which was amazing. And my quote is actually the end of a poem. So it's Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou.
Wow.
So the
That's a
ending of that
good
poem.
person to quote a poem from.
It is. And this part of the poem is my favorite because it really resonates with many things that I think we're going to touch on today.
Yeah.
So that last part of the poem goes, now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need of my care. Because I'm a woman, phenomenal woman. That's me.
Mm. What did that mean to you when you read it the first time?
I think the first time it reminded me of confidence.
Yeah.
Actually stepping into areas and spaces where you may not feel comfortable, but going into that with confidence, and knowing that you have others that are supporting you and cheering you on to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the part around like going into a space with your head not bowed, it's going in with confidence,
Mm-hmm.
trying new things, and showing what you're capable of doing.
It's interesting when I hear that, and there's a couple things come to mind. I'm in the room a lot of times with leaders at like all levels of their leadership journey, that it's the space when they've stepped into a newer role
Hmm.
and the term imposter syndrome, or I
Yeah.
feel like an imposter, comes out of their mouth. And I'm like, and for me, it's just fear at some level.
Hmm.
And where we can inquire where that's coming from, I don't know that there's as much value in that to understand the source of it.
Right.
My counter to that, or the suggestion I have for people is, um, there's a couple things. And number one is that when we're feeling that way, right? It's like hold your head up high, is ground yourself in confidence and
Correct.
having confidence of what you know to be true.
Right.
So when we step into these roles, when new stuff happens, new challenges that we face, new opportunities, whatever it may be, And I remember Deidre Schneider told me this one time because I was learning to be, facilitator and learning development and all that stuff. And I wasn't sure if the role was going to continue on, whether it was going to be eliminated. And she said, Michelle, no matter what, you're going to take all these skills with you wherever you go.
Yes.
And it's the same thing when leaders step into whatever that new role is. We've collected all the skills and the experiences and all the stuff that we've gone along the way, which means that we can have confidence in what we know to be true, all those skills that we have. And when we step into something else, the other thing I remind people of is when you go into that next opportunity, you're not supposed to know everything. My,
Exactly.
yeah, if you did, you'd be bored inside of 2 weeks.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so I think that's so when I hear that about holding your head up high, be proud about where you are and what's going on, and then look around and be curious about who's going to teach you the next stuff.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, and sometimes it's the role that you have within your organization where you're stepping into something new and going into that with confidence. And sometimes it's work that really drives you, and it could be outside of work.
Hmm.
So I do a lot of work outside in the community with different organizations where there have been many examples of, hey, Dennise, we want to start something new. We've never done this before, but we think that you might be able to help us through this. And am I concerned if we're going to succeed? Maybe, but they have confidence in me. This group has seen something in me that tells them you can do this,
Yeah.
or you'll figure it out. And my response is often yes, and let's figure it out together because
Yeah.
um, it's something that's needed. It's something that's valuable. And I was actually sharing this with a leader earlier today that it's not that I'm doing something for myself. It's really like, what's the bigger picture here? What's the bigger purpose and who is this going to serve?
Mhm.
And so if others have seen something in me that has them see some confidence that they have in me that I'll succeed, they're also going to help me. And it's
Mhm.
because it's for the bigger purpose, not just for myself.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing. It's I've known you for more than a minute,
Hmm.
and you are in service to others. I mean, you exude it,
Hmm.
right? Is that's what you're there for. And it's true that there's something about being in service to others or the fact that it's not about me.
Right.
And this is what I'll share with people that get up and do speaking engagements for the first time, right? If you get up and the focus is on you, you're focusing on yourself. And what if I screw up? What if they don't like me? What if, right?
Right.
You're going to be nervous, most likely, super
Yeah.
nervous. When you shift that focus to where you make it about the people in the room, I have something to share, and I want to make sure the people in the room get value from what I'm going to share. The
Right.
nerves just disappear.
Right.
And I can
Right.
imagine it's the same way when you're stepping into stuff that you haven't done before or outside the org, that's the case. And I don't
Mhm.
want to miss the opportunity for you to share what kind of stuff you're involved in that's not at Sutter Health.
Sure. Well, and just to say a little bit more about what you just mentioned,
Yeah.
Bill, um, we also hear a lot of people talk about being introverted or extroverted. I am an introvert. However, I am often in extroverted spaces, and I've learned how to do exactly what you said, how I go in front of a group and share information or education or deliver a message that is meant for the audience. And so it does require you to dig deep, especially if you're an
Mhm.
introvert, and be able to do that in a way that doesn't show that you're nervous,
Mhm.
makes the message clear, and that resonates with your audience. So that I think is something that I bring to all of the spaces that I'm involved in. Again, many of which are outside of my role at Sutter. One of them is, as you mentioned earlier, with Blood Cancer United.
Mhm.
They are formerly the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Last year, I was approached by them to support their Visionaries of the Year campaign, which is a
Mhm.
fundraising campaign. And they asked me if I would be interested and what my why would be if I said
Mhm.
yes.
Mm.
And I said, my why is my dad.
Mhm.
We learned very late that he had kidney cancer. And right away, the first question that my family asked me was, Dennise, you work in healthcare, so you know what to do, right? No, I had no idea what to do. And so my why is my dad because I had to help my family navigate through all of his care.
Mm.
My parents were born and raised in Mexico. My first
Mhm.
language is Spanish, grew up in my Spanish speaking household. And, the story is very common that you have children who are translators
Mhm.
for their parents. I was doing that throughout my dad's cancer journey, helping
Wow.
him and my family understand what was happening, even though they understood what the doctors were saying, because my parents speak English. Um, what does it really mean, right?
Mhm.
What are the next steps? Is dad going to get better? Um, what are the resources that are available to us? And so with Blood Cancer United, I love the organization's mission because they do focus on advocacy. They
Mhm.
also support clinical trials for new medications. And then most recently, they've started to support families with medical debt. So if you
Mhm.
are dealing with insurance coverage issues, if again you're enrolled in a new trial and navigating through having lost your job or a caregiver who needs to support their family members, I love all of that. Like I love the fact that they are supporting that. And so this fundraiser, this Visionaries of the Year fundraiser,
Mhm.
is to support the organization. I also
Wow.
said to the group, going back to what we talked about earlier around confidence,
Yeah.
I want to learn about fundraising. I don't know how to fundraise. I don't know very much about fundraising.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I want to learn and I'll support the organization.
What tips do you have for people? I mean, I have my stuff that I say about getting in front of people and basically my hashtag is face your fears and do it anyway. I too am an introvert, okay?
Mhm.
And I just tell people I'm a loud one. And I know it because after I'm with a group or in the room, I'm energized and everything's good, but you literally, it's like someone unplugged me when
Yeah.
that thing's over and I just need to go recharge and be by myself. So when COVID hit, I was okay with not being around a bunch of
Mhm.
humans,
Mhm.
right? And so I know what my tips and tricks are. What advice would you give leaders?
So as earlier, I love poetry. I love to read and, be in my own world. I'm also a big uh, yoga practitioner. I got
Mhm.
certified as a yoga instructor actually during COVID.
Oh, good
Um,
job.
because to me, those are spaces where I get to go internal, right?
Mhm.
And that recharges me. Um, I have found that that works for me. That doesn't work for others, but those are the things that I do to balance the demands on my time and
Um,
um, all of the work, right? Messages, emails, firefighting that we're often in.
It's interesting. I was talking to someone the other day. It was one of the leaders that I was working with. And I don't assume a shared meaning on stuff. And so one of the things that you touched on is frequently in leadership roles, and I'm going to say we're all leaders, whether we have direct reports or not.
Right.
But we go from thing to thing to thing, and we can also tell ourselves this big fat lie that we're the only ones that can fix it. It all roads lead to us and all the stuff. And so I encourage leaders to say, and I ask, how do you reset? What does
Hmm.
that look like? Whether it's grounding, whether it's resetting. And then I'll ask, when I say that, like, how do you reset or how do you ground? Do you have a meaning that comes to mind for you? Because I don't want to assume someone goes, oh, okay, yeah, I just need to ground.
Hmm.
And it doesn't mean it's my way of grounding, but I want to make sure, do you understand what that means? And then it doesn't mean that you have to take 3 hours to go do something or 45 minutes. It can be 30 seconds
Yes. Yes.
in between to reset in between meetings. Um, what else? I mean, because you have people that report to you.
Hmm.
What conversations you have with people on your team about how to do that? Because I think wellness is so freaking important.
Oh, yes.
We were talking about it. We went through COVID. I think some of us are still in COVID, or at least going through the trauma of COVID and the impact that it had. Um, what kind of recommendations or conversations do you have with people? Because I go back to your quote from Maya at the end of
Mhm.
the poem. It's like, in order to hold our head high, we've got to feel it.
Right.
And so I'll stop talking because that's my question.
Yes. As you were kind of leading into this, I was thinking of a very specific example with one of my teams. We were in a meeting, and I
Hmm.
knew that it was a busy week. This was at the end of the week. And in the moment, I just asked others, what is preventing you or what is getting in the way of you being fully present today?
I love
And
it.
when I asked that question, I started the icebreaker, if you will. And I told them I'm a little distracted because there's, 5 things that are due this week and they need to be done by the end of the day.
Hmm.
So I am a little bit distracted because we are meeting now. And after this meeting, I need to work on those other things. But now that I've said this, I'm okay because I know that I will have time later today to get those things done.
Hmm.
It was amazing, Michelle, the reaction from the other 7 people that I had in the room with me, where I just saw them like just sigh. And I
Yeah,
said, okay, Dennise is giving us the space to talk about this. So that is one thing that I've learned to do in different settings to be real with those in the room, right? To say we need to acknowledge what else is happening around us in order for us to be present for the conversations that are going to happen now.
hmm,
Because we know that when things are happening outside of work in our personal lives, maybe something that happened earlier that day, it impacts us. And
hmm.
it's hard, it's not easy to I can't even say the word, compartmentalize.
Compartmentalize, put it in
Exactly.
a silo and bucket and
Exactly.
say, yeah,
Exactly.
okay,
To
that
just
was
say,
personal. I'm at work now. We're
yeah,
this freaking human.
yes. And I think my team sees that from me.
Yeah,
So I've seen them do it with their teams as well. And it's being vulnerable, right? I
yeah,
think that that's part of it. So maybe it does
yeah,
go back to confidence and are you okay with letting people in to see a part of you that you may not feel comfortable with or you haven't been encouraged to do that in the past?
yeah. It's so funny. I go back to Brene Brown, and it's not about, blubbering and going to the extreme and all that stuff, but even just giving people an inkling
Right.
that things are not 100% right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like, okay, fine. You remind me, Christy Buford had a practice with her team, right? And for those of you who don't know, Christy's been on the podcast a few times, and another leader at Sutter, and I adore her. And so she was on there, and she had a practice with her team when she was at the foundation level, that they would go around and basically, where are you today? In their meetings, like they had a green smile and a yellow smile and a red smile, something like that. But it was a check-in,
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you're talking about, because it's important to find out where people are. And it's important for them to know it matters where they are to you
Exactly.
and to the rest of the team. Because I have some leaders that are not comfortable with managing from here, the heart.
Right.
And that's where we make connection. And I 100% acknowledge that if you're not used to leading from that place, it's freaking scary.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
Um, and when we do lead from that place, we truly connect with people. We're able to give them grace. They give us grace. We can have better conversations. And people don't fall apart in a puddle for the most part
Mm.
because you allow that connection to happen.
Right.
So yeah, you reminded me of that.
Yes. Well, and I mean, there's so many examples of leaders that I consider mentors. Many of them may not know that I consider them mentors, but observing what they do, observing how it is that they lead with their heart,
Mhm.
and it is a very different way of leading.
Mhm.
And because I have had several leaders throughout my career that have modeled that for me, it has made it easier for me to do it
Mhm.
and to make it my own as well.
Mhm.
So, I think that exactly what you said in terms of uh, it makes people uncomfortable when you talk about feelings, right?
Yeah.
But that's necessary. We are human, right? If we don't talk about that, then we are missing the opportunity to make connections and to build relationships,
Mhm.
which ultimately everything that we do is about.
Yeah. I
So it's
mean,
necessary.
yeah. We came into this world as humans.
Exactly.
We're going to leave this world as humans, right? At least in this physical body. And you're absolutely right. And for me, it's a huge miss
Hmm.
if because if you're just in this headspace, there are so many other joys and feelings and just experiences that you can have with the people that you work with. You spend so much time with them,
Right.
so much time.
Right.
So, yeah, I love it. Share a little bit more about all the outside stuff you have going, because I know you mentioned the Blood Cancer United.
Yes.
Are there other things you have going? Because I mean, for me, I'm like, I don't know that I would have time for more than one.
Well, I think going back to opportunities and, someone seeing something in you, that's how these two other organizations that I'll mention in just
Yeah.
a moment came about. One of them that I've been involved with for a very long time is Lean In Latinas.
Okay.
So going back to Sheryl Sandberg and her book Lean In, that started a
Yeah.
movement around women in the workplace. Lena Latinas is a nonprofit that has now circles or affinity groups across the entire globe that are focused on those same topics. What are the issues that confront women in the workplace? And so,
Mm-hmm.
with that organization, I serve as chief of staff to our founder and CEO. One of our largest events is a conference that we have every year where we have our members from across the country and internationally come to this event and build community.
Oh,
So there's
wow.
many events that are happening throughout the year, but I work directly with the leadership team to come up with new programming, engagement with our members, be connected to the Lean In network,
Mm-hmm.
and learn what other networks across the world are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that's near and dear to my heart. Again, being someone who is kind of midway through their career and looking to
Yeah.
continue to grow and advance,
Yeah.
this organization provides a support system for me in doing.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So
Another organ.
there's another one. Okay. I'm looking
There's
going,
one more. There's
these
one
are
more.
freaking full-time jobs, woman.
So this last one, it actually came about through a leader at Sutter, who at her previous organization was involved with helping them establish a chapter of the National Association of Latino Healthcare Executives.
Okay.
Someone mentioned her name, or mentioned that I might be someone who could help her in creating a chapter here in Northern California.
Okay.
And I was involved in some recruiting for those roles, informational sessions, and then, oh, by the way, if you're interested in a role, you might want to either self-nominate or others could nominate you for any of these founding board member positions.
Okay.
Long story short, I was nominated to be president
Oh,
of this
gee.
this organization. So in 2024, we started a chapter here in Northern California for NALE,
Right.
Association of Latino Healthcare Executives. It's a wonderful organization. It helps with developing the pipeline of leaders in healthcare.
Yeah.
We start with students that are finishing up their graduate school. And even though executive is in the title, it's for any leader in healthcare.
Okay.
You can be a technician who is just starting off in healthcare. This
Yeah.
organization's for you. It's really, again, around building that network and support
Yeah.
system. So I've been in this role now about 2 years
As
and
president?
as president.
So when does someone else get elected?
At the end of this year. So we're actually going to
Okay.
go through our first transition of leadership roles later this
Wow.
year. And then I'll be moving into the past president position. So super excited to see this organization grow. We're at close to 200 members.
Wow.
And we collaborate with many organizations
Mhm.
throughout Northern California. Many of our members are in the San Francisco Bay Area and the Sacramento Valley. We
Yeah.
are looking to grow into the Central Valley and even further north. Uh,
Yeah.
so really excited to bring those leaders together
Yeah.
and identify what is the need out there in terms of topics or skills that we need to develop as we continue through our journey in healthcare.
Yeah. It's interesting because I go back to Tony Robbins, one of his sayings that he said, and basically it's proximity is power.
Mm,
And so when
mhm.
you create these organizations with people that are like-minded, they want to help grow and develop each other and make connections, it's powerful because otherwise, I don't know that in early on in your career you were connected with those people. Yeah, you had mentors that you looked for, but it wasn't this intentional framework
Right,
that exists out there now. Uh,
right.
it's a cool thing.
It is, and it builds off of networks that I am still very close to, whether it's graduate school or other nonprofits that I did internships through or
Mhm.
helped me as I continued through my
Yeah.
career. It's another way of giving back, right? Of
Hmm.
building something that is for the next generation of leaders to come.
Yeah. No, I freaking love it.
Mhm.
Um, when I think about, because I'm looking at just all the stuff that we talked about, what advice would you have? Because you've and advice, maybe it's for your younger self or for somebody coming in when you look back. Um, yeah, I think that's it. It's like when I think about that stuff, because we tell ourselves so many stories and limitations and we're not good enough or whatever it may be. I mean, I hear it all the time. I have narratives in my head at time that I've just got to go, Michelle, stop,
Mhm.
and move forward. What advice, seriously, would you give, you know, yourself now, Denise, or a younger version of you, even now?
Uh, I mean, so many things. I'm like, where do I begin? I
Pick
think
the top three.
I mean, one that has made the biggest difference is around mentorship, but
Yeah.
also understanding what sponsorship's all about. So I have a lot of people who are mentors, which I never imagined that they would be so generous with their time. And
Yeah.
it was CEO level leaders that
Mhm.
I was starting off in healthcare and asked someone to meet with them for an hour, and that turned into like a 6-year mentorship
Yeah.
until this person retired. So I would say go for it. Go ask someone for 30 minutes of their time, and you never know what's going to come out
Mhm.
of that. And that has helped me think about how do I navigate through different interests that I have. And maybe it's an opportunity for me to pivot into something different that I'm doing in my career, which I've done.
Mhm.
Um, and also, how do I make time? And this second piece of advice here is how do I make time for those other activities that also fill my cup, right? Whether it's the volunteer work that I do or yoga. Did I ever think I was going to be an instructor? No. Why did I do it? Because I wanted to learn more and have a better understanding of yoga for myself. But
Yeah.
could I teach? Maybe. Let me try it, something new. So trying new things, I think, would be the other piece of advice. I also travel a lot. I go on an annual birthday trip by myself, so I love to solo travel.
Wow. Okay,
Started
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
that started when I turned 30, and so I have done it ever since. And I look forward to those birthday trips every year, and that's for myself. That's my gift to myself.
Okay, so I'm going to openly admit this. I don't even eat dinner out like on business stuff on my own. I can't. I'm like, I will
Mhm.
go get food and bring it back to the room because I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm not, I'm not people watching. I'm not doing it because I don't want to stare at people,
Mhm.
especially eating. So kudos to you.
I will tell you that if there's uh, a restaurant that you've always wanted to go to, and it's very difficult to get a reservation, and you go by yourself,
Yeah,
you're going to be seated right away. And that has happened multiple times for me, thinking, oh, it's a packed house, and is there a seat? Yeah, there's a seat at the bar. Great. It's just one person.
yeah,
So again, I think that was another way that I have built up my confidence to do other
yeah,
things
yeah,
by going on solo trips.
yeah. Wow, good for you. Yeah, I
Mm.
haven't done, I mean, I'll do 2.5 hour drive someplace or go to Mount Shasta or whatever. But when you say trips, I imagine that you're getting on an airplane, you're going somewhere.
Yes.
I guess.
But I've
That's what
also
I,
done road trips. I mean, I went on a week-long road trip from Northern California through the state of Oregon when I was moving from one organization to another. Where was I going? I had reserved a hotel stay for 2 nights and I knew I needed to get there on a certain day. What else
yeah,
was in my itinerary? Anything. Let me
yeah,
go stop here and there and just make sure that I get to the hotel in, 4 days from now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I love that. I think there's a really important message in that is that um, don't wait.
Hmm.
You don't have to wait for someone else or wait for permission or any of that stuff. If there's something that you want to do,
Right.
don't make the excuse that someone else has to go with you as
Right.
your example. I'm fortunate with vacations. I can go with my daughter and her family like we're going to be going.
Hmm.
Um, because I have not, that has not been the thing for me that I've air quote needed to do.
Mm.
Yet, I would hate for people to sit around and think I can't go there because I'm by myself.
Right.
And so I agree. I think if it's a thing you want, go for it. It goes back to face your fears and do it anyway.
Yes.
I'm super impressed. I'm super impressed because I'm sitting here adding up in my head the time commitment because I'm sure you're not using uh, OpenClaw for agents to be able to do all the work that you have going, in with large language models or AI. And
Mhm.
so you're the one doing this stuff. If you've
Mhm.
got, and it's like the thing that I would be curious about is you must have an amazing ability with time management
Mm.
in order to be able to structure to say this should take this long. I'm going to carve this out. And where the unknowns exist, like you were talking about studying and carving out all that stuff, because that's the thing that we have to be really good at in order to maximize the time to be able to step into those things that we love doing because you have a job that's full-time plus.
Yes. Yes. Well, and it is late evenings. I will
Yeah.
say that because again, many of the meetings for these organizations are in the evenings,
Mhm.
several times a month. There is work on the weekends as well. There's usually
Yeah.
events that I'm attending on
Yeah.
the weekends. Um, but again, it's a passion of mine. It's something that drives
Yeah.
me. It's something that I see as like a must do for myself. And
Yeah.
because of that, I make the time for it.
Yeah.
And when I have those trips to myself, I fully enjoy them because it's time where I'm not joining a meeting. I'm not available via phone or email, that I fully take advantage of that time away.
Yeah. Um, it was interesting what came to mind for me when you were talking about the weekends or the evenings or all that stuff. The significant difference in the way you describe it and the way others may describe it, because I've heard people say this all the time. I
Mhm.
have to go to this meeting. I have to work this weekend. I have to. There's no have tos in you. It's a must because you have passion and that's what you want to do.
Right.
And in all honesty, I think that makes the most significant difference.
Mhm.
If you're doing stuff because you feel like you have to do it, or it's a drudgery. There's no energy behind it. This is stuff that's filling you up.
Yes.
And granted, I'm sure not every moment of it fills you up. But the impact that you're having, I hear it. And I think that's the main message too with people is, I don't know, that Christy called it life balance and not work-life balance, and I have to agree with her,
Mhm.
is there is this balance that we navigate through to say, here's the stuff that can take the energy, and here's the stuff that replenishes the energy.
Yes.
And it looks different for different people. I
Mhm.
think the important part is be very cognizant that it's important that it exists in your life in that way.
Right. Right. I mean, I'm thinking back to even when I was in college and both of my parents both asking me, um, this organization that you're involved in, you're telling us that you're doing events on the weekend, but you're there for school. What are you studying? And I said, oh, all week long I'm in the library or I'm, working and then going to the library. And then, Sundays I'm calling you as I'm walking back to my apartment from the library. So
Yeah.
I find the time to do all of that. But that organization, it was a pre-medical student group that I was involved in all 4 years. And it was what I saw was missing from my college experience in terms of
Mhm.
where I wanted to go next, what I was learning in my classes, what I enjoyed about sports and other activities. So I think from a young age, that's how I have balanced my time.
Yeah.
Staying busy, I'm actually more productive when I'm busy. So,
Yeah, most of us are. It's like if you want to get something done, give it to somebody who's super busy. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. Hmm.
Um, I love the time. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
As we wrap up, and I will put, I think you're going to share with me, or you did share it with me. I think you did, the contact information for the Blood Cancer United, because you
Yes, I
have
will.
the Visionaries fundraiser going on now, so we can share that information with people.
Yes.
Um, so as we wrap up, though, or what one or two things would you like people to walk away with, just in all the stuff that we chatted about?
I think the message around confidence of stepping into spaces that you may not feel fully comfortable in, but doing it anyway.
Mhm.
To me, that's important. That's a good takeaway from today. The other one is, again, what's your passion?
Mm,
And are there other organizations or other activities that you're not doing today that are where your passion lie? And how
mhm,
can you get involved or do something that drives you more than you might be doing today.
mhm,
I think the last one, find time for yourself. So whether that's again the solo traveling or yoga or going out and enjoying nature, doing something for yourself to replenish all of the time that we spend doing everything else in our lives.
mhm. The thing, because my brain goes to what's going to get in the way
Mm-hmm.
of people doing any of those things that you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think what happens is you're not in the space of um, this mental model of I have to do this, life sucks, the working thing. And so part of it is for people to start getting out of that mode.
Right.
Because one of the things that can get in the way is people going, I'm too tired, I don't have an energy for it.
Right.
And here's what I'll say, because it came to me and it comes to me with stuff that I do. It's the things that excite you, that you're passionate about, actually energize you.
They do.
And so it's the funniest thing that it's like you can go, and I'm sure anybody listening has done this, to where you're exhausted and someone goes, did you want to go do such and such? And such is this thing that you really love doing. And all of a sudden it's like, what? Yeah,
Yes.
right. And you're no longer exhausted.
Hmm.
So it's a matter of not using the current state, energy state that you're in to make the decision whether or not you're going to do this other thing.
Right.
And to be able to push through that. And then once you start getting involved, that's where the energy comes, the excitement. You look forward to things, all the stuff. I get it with people I'm in the room with. They're like, oh my gosh, I look forward to, this coaching session or just whatever. And so these are people that are carving time out of their crazy freaking day to sit down and chat. We can do the same things for ourselves.
Exactly. Exactly. Again, it's a change in the way that we put value on some of these additional activities, and we are deep, like, diving deep into your reserves of energy, but
Yeah.
it's there, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a little push that we need to get us over the I'm busy, I'm tired, I'm done for the day. It's like, no, no, no. There's still more there, Dennise. Like, go
Yeah.
into your reserve tank because that's what's going to take you to the finish line.
This is where you just took me when you said that. I had a 61 Volkswagen Bug, which was my first car.
Mm.
It had literally had a reserve tank, and there was a little lever down below on the seat that when you ran out of gas, because it didn't have a gas gauge,
Ah.
you
Oh
you
no.
flip this little lever and it went to the reserve. So then it's enough to get you to the gas station to go
Mhm.
and fill up.
Mhm.
That's where my brain went.
Yeah, well, so in yoga or in breath work, right,
Yeah.
we know that we have reserves in our lungs, and the way that you breathe, tap into those crevices within your lungs to get
Yes.
you to the next pose or to get you through something that is causing you to be anxious. So we have that in us. It's just a matter of tapping into what's
Yeah.
already there.
Well, you're right, because it's like take a deep breath. Now breathe some more, breathe a little bit more, and people are like, that's all. No, that's not all there is.
Right,
There's still more. Yeah. You're
right.
absolutely right. So that's the message. Take that next breath and then
Exactly.
take the one after that because there's still
Yeah,
room.
exactly.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
This has
Michelle.
been a delight. Like I said, I'll put the message on the other so people can reach out. And
Perfect.
thank you for your time. This has been
No,
Leadership
thank you.
Soundbites. Yeah. With Dennise and Michelle. So I thank you in advance for sharing and subscribing. And until next time, have a freaking awesome day. Thank you.